Some good news for parents with young children. The Food and Drug Administration has now granted emergency use authorization of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for kids 5 to 11 years old. If the CDC director greenlights their recommendation next week, 28 million kids could start getting the shots as early as Wednesday. Joining us now is Dr. Susanna Hills. She's a pediatric airway surgeon for Columbia University Medical Center. Dr. Hills, good morning, and thank you for sharing part of your weekend with us. I want to play for you a soundbite from Dr. William Gruber of Pfizer. He spoke with CNN on this news of the FDA authorization. Listen to this.
Ability to vaccinate children frees them up to attend school with reduced risk of outbreaks that limit in-person learning. I think for many children, school is a safe space, as well as obviously the important role that it plays in their education. So, and for many children, it's actually a place where they get meals. So this has really a profound effect beyond the important prevention of COVID-19.
Doctor, how significant could this be in the grand scheme of things in fighting the spread of COVID long term?
This is really a huge deal, Boris. Our children have really been impacted by this pandemic. We have had over 6.3 million kids get infected with this virus. Over 8,000 have ended up in the hospital, and nearly 700 have died from this disease. So it's been a huge deal for our kids, and not to mention the developmental and psychosocial impacts that this pandemic has had over the past year. So it's really a huge step forward when we can get this vaccine available for the 5 to 11-year-olds. And I think it's really going to help us not only give our kids this same opportunity for protection that adults have had for nearly a year, but it's going to help us get control of this pandemic in this country. I don't see how we're going to get control of this pandemic without protecting this population. Kids make up 22% of our population in the U.S., and that's showing up in our infection numbers. 25% of infections right now are in kids, so this is a huge deal.
So it could get approval on Tuesday, and that means potentially shots in arms by Wednesday. However, you have to have buy-in from parents, and I want to share with you some polling from Kaiser showing that a majority of parents say they won't get their kids vaccinated right away. 33% say they are going to wait and see. From your perspective, what would you say to parents that are hesitant right now?
Yeah, we expect parents to have questions and concerns. It's good for parents to be wanting more information. And what I would urge is that parents go ahead and get the information they need now so that they can feel confident making their decision about getting their child vaccinated. This is the moment to do this. Our kids, like I was just saying, have been severely impacted by this virus. We now have a tool, a vaccine that's really effective. The clinical trial data for the Pfizer vaccine in this age group showed it was 91% effective in preventing symptomatic disease. That's really incredible efficacy for this virus. We know it works. There were 0 significant side effects other than the mild side effects you'd expect from any vaccine in this age group in the clinical trials. So now is the time for parents to move forward, particularly since we're entering the holiday season. And I just want to remind everybody, last year, right after the holiday season, that was the moment when we saw the biggest surge we've seen yet throughout this entire pandemic in cases. January 8th was our highest daily case rate that we've seen throughout this pandemic. So really, in order to prevent that from happening again this year, we're about to enter the holiday season. Let's give our kids a chance for a healthy holiday season and give them the opportunity to get this vaccine.
A very important point so that we don't repeat that surge that we saw at the beginning of the year. Dr. Susanna Hills, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Boris.